Hello, hello. Coming in from Chicago. Really excited about tonight. I guess this is our first Success Room content call of the year, which is super exciting. I know we had a call last week that kind of just talked about what we're going to go over and what the next few weeks looked like. But tonight we're going to get into some of the nuts and bolts of some fun. And I don't think we could start off with a better subject than funnels. You know, how to build great funnels and what does it look like, and how to get converting offers and those kinds of things going. And I'm excited. I hope you guys had a absolutely amazing week since the last time we all met. I have a crazy week coming up here. I leave tomorrow for Vegas at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm going down to Phoenix on Thursday to hang out with our buddies at Infusionsoft for 2 days to one of their top training invite-only conferences. Only 20 of the top IS members in the world got invited, and I was lucky to be one. So I'm really excited to go down there and spend some really quality time with the founders and the team over at Infusionsoft, and then from there come back to Chicago and for a day, and then off to New York City for some more fun and some teaching and meeting with a big client from Sony RCA. So it's going to be crazy next 7 days for me. Some quick ground rule. There's some of you that are still have not added me on Skype. Please do that. I don't know why. There's a few of you that have missed, but it's really simple. My Skype is awalsh1110. You should have gotten emails about this, and I've tried to reach out to some of you. I see you're in the calls. I'm not going to name any names, but if you have a problem with getting on Skype, just shoot me a text or shoot me an email, and we'll get you figured out sooner than later, because I want you in on Skype, and that's kind of where we have some updates and have some conversations every once in a while, and it's a good place to be. Other than that, we should go for probably around, I would say, till around 7:40-ish tonight, give or take. I don't know how many questions we'll have, but I got some really good stuff that I want to go over, and some new cool things too. So let's talk about, first off, what is a funnel, right? When you think of funnel, I mean, I think of it really simply as I think of a car and how you put oil in a car. You use a funnel, and how it works is that you start very wide, and then you get lower and lower and lower and lower. And tonight, we're really going to kind of go into what does the front end of a funnel look like. Now, a really good funnel has, especially in the businesses that we run, has products that start at anywhere from $20 and go all the way up to 25 to 50 to 100,000 bucks, right? And so, there's really three different kinds of products, and we're going to go more into this when we talk about product creation. But there's what you have, your low-end products, which are your digital, your trainings, your weekly calls. Anything that's under $1,000 is kind of like your weekly, or sorry, your low end. And then you have your medium level, which is 1,000 to, let's say, 10,000, which is anything that kind of starts to take more of your time up. It's more for a specific kind of person. It's more of a done-for-you service. And then you have your high end, which is anything over 10,000, which is really, your one-on-one time, your partnership levels, your exotic masterminds, things of that type of sort, your larger projects. Now, how I think if you run these businesses right, everything that's, let's say, your low level, under $997, you should be able to successfully sell online, right? You should sell that digitally. Then after that, anything that's over 1,000, your medium level, should be sold through, if you're not doing any speaking like that, should be sold through a survey or through one-on-one. And what I mean by a survey is that your customers fill out a survey, then you do phone sales. And then your high end, anything over your 10,000, almost typically, it's very rarely sold on the phone, but should be sold one-on-one through a live event type of format. So that's kind of like how the outlook looks at it. But I think what people forget is that how important the front end is. And how I always look at it is that you have to figure out what is your worth of a customer. And how I always try and build businesses, and how I always build everything that I've done, is that I kind of use this, I call it, it's no crazy, but I just call it the rule of 10. And what that means is that your goal should be to get 10 new customers every single week. Now, if you do the math here, if you do 10 customers every single week, right, that's 520 customers over the course of the year, which means you're doing you have a pretty big business, right? 520 customers is good, but you have to understand what is the worth of your customer. For me, we know that every single customer is worth about anywhere from 200, depending on what you're selling, all the way up to $400 a customer. Now, if you're doing 500 customers a year and you're doing $400 per customer, you're doing a really good job monetizing your customers, and you have a really big business. But the problem is that challenge that I think most entrepreneurs face is that we don't really focus on building out our front end properly. Now, when it comes to online, we're going to hop into this now. I kind of just wanted to give you a little bit of the background and what does some of this stuff look like. So we're going to really talk about the front end. There you go. Perfect. Donna, awesome. I'm adding someone now before we keep going. So if you think about, you know, we're going to talk about traffic and how do you get to it, but keep that rule of 10 in the back of your head. That's really something we're going to talk about a lot this whole year, I guess. So you think about, what does the front end look like, right? Now, first off, you have to think, what is the most important thing in business today? And I talked about this from the stage, but I'm going to talk about it again here. The most important thing in business today, it's not about how much sales you're doing, what your sales are, or how many customers you have, or how much money you make. Today, this world that we live in is ruled by information and users, right? So the first question you have to ask yourself is, do you have users? Let's use, but we can use users. You can exchange that word for leads or for customers or whatever you want to call it. I like to use the word users, right? How many users do you have? And then how much information do you have on your users? If you think about all these companies that are selling for, and taking a step back here, the reason you start a company is to sell a company, right? It's just the truth. You start a company to sell a company because we don't always live forever. And the goal long term is that we want our companies to live on past when we live on, right? And so you start a company to sell a company. Now you have to think about, why are companies selling today? And it goes back to the users. It doesn't, if you're doing $5 million in sales, 10 years ago, if you're doing $5 million in sales, you could sell your company for anywhere from 10 to 25 million based upon what the profit or what you were doing. Usually it's the most you used to be able to get is 5x, right? 5x your revenue per year, which was cool. But nowadays you have companies like, let's look at Facebook, no, let's skip Facebook. Let's say Instagram. Instagram has never made $1, but they sold for $1 billion. You have companies like Snapchat that is still yet to make $1 in profit, but they got offered for $3 billion. They didn't take it, but that's what they offered to sell for. So you have these companies that have come out that are selling for ridiculous sums, but they don't have any revenue whatsoever. So you have to think about in your own business, what are you doing today to generate users? Then how are you getting information on users? Now, I don't think anyone in this room, there might be one or two, I don't know, that are really running companies that are going to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, right? Like these companies do. I don't think there's not a lot of tech startup people in this group. But you still have to think about, how are you generating users? Now, the easiest way to generate users online, and we'll see if anyone knows this, I think someone has to know this, and how this works, guys, if you're in Skype, just write in the Skype box, and if you're in Google, if you're not on Skype, that's okay, you can write in the chat box. But what do you do now to generate free users? And I'll give you guys a minute or 2 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes to kind of go ahead and put in there. I mean, what do you do today to get free users, to get leads, to get information on the leads that you get? What are some of the things you do? So go ahead, either write in Skype or write in the chat box. And even if you don't know the answer, just put in what you think you should do. Go ahead. I'll give you 2 minutes. Okay, cool. So landing page. And guys, if you want to write in the Skype group, or you want to write in the chat. I see people are sending me messages on Skype, which is great too. Here's the chat. Hi. Okay, so landing page, right? That's a great example. What I think, how most people get how to get users online is that they offer what's called a free gift, right? Now we're going to get more into products and stuff in the following weeks, but the easiest free gift that you can give away, I'm just going to cut right to it, is a really simple one page, one sheet that just has 7 great tips on it about what to do, and make it super simple and make it that they can get results very easily. Now, the problem is that most people build squeeze pages, and they have these squeeze pages that, you know, they have videos on there, they have all these distractions, they have, and the challenge is, and what we do as entrepreneurs, and I'm gonna go on a rant here, what we do as entrepreneurs is that we completely think like product owners, and we never, ever, ever think like the customer. And so what we do is that we typically build a landing page or a squeeze page. That's what we're gonna get into. And what we do in this landing page or squeeze page is that we put a picture of us, we put a video of us, and we put some headline stuff about us, and then we expect people to then want to put their information in, even though we're talking about us the entire time. And my challenge for you, and kind of like my let's wake up time, is that why do people, I mean, if someone's just completely talking about themselves the entire time, are you ever going to give them the time of day? And the answer is no, of course not. That's horseshit, right? As people, we're selfish. I'm just going to get really honest here. As people, we're selfish, right? We care about ourselves, and we care about what can we get. So when I go to a website and I want something for myself, but the person that I'm going to the website is completely just talking about themselves, I'm turned off and I leave and I hit the X button. And instead of how we should do, we should think like customers. And what I mean by that is that create pages that literally talk completely about the person you're trying to attract. So, you know, hold on, let me pull up my screen share here. Let's see if this works. Boom, share. Okay, cool. Oops, here we go. So here's an example of a squeeze page, right? The squeeze page that I just checked, we have about a 52% conversion on this page, which is pretty good. We went over 50%. And this page, it has nothing to do about who, this is a page for actually one of the success for people. It has nothing to do about the person. This is a page for Sue Rellahan. She's an SR member. She's not still on it now, but it has nothing to do about Sue. It doesn't say, hey, my name's Sue. Here's a picture of me. Here's a video of me. It's completely focused on the user, right? Or the potential customer. And so this is the kind of page that you have to make if you want to have high conversions. You want to get people to actually download your stuff and then use it. See, the biggest thing on a squeeze page is that what we're trying to do is we're trying to get information, but our bigger goal is that we're trying to sell somebody something. And so what we realistically want to do is that we want to give this person great information so that they get a result and they come back and buy. And typically what we do is that we give people an ebook that talks about ourselves the entire time, or talks about what we know, and we never focus on the user, so they never come back and buy. And really, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Does this make sense? Does anyone have questions on this? Just stop the screen share. If you have questions, just ask. That's fine. So it's really kind of common sense that the biggest challenge here is that we're creating pages that aren't focused on the customer. And so the big change you need to make right away is create really super simple pages. Don't create a page that has a video on it. Don't create a page that has a bunch of, you know, information about you. No one cares what you look like. No one cares about pictures of you. Completely focus on the customer, right? Focus completely on the customer, what they want, what the result they're going to receive is, and then move on from there. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it's pretty clear. Now, what most people do is, now you say, okay, so someone goes to the page and they opt in. What happens then? And what most people do is that, you know, they create steps. And as soon as you start creating steps and start creating options, people stop wanting to buy. Because if you make it harder for people, they're just not going to purchase it. It's pretty simple, right? And so what most people do is that they have people download something, and they go to a thank you page, and it says, you know, thanks for downloading it. Your stuff's in your email box, for download it now. And that's like the worst thing in the world you can do, because it makes no sense. Because think about this, right? Subconsciously, and just think about this for a second. You don't have to write anything, but subconsciously, what do you think happens when you give somebody something for free? What do you think? Just think about that. You don't have to write anything, but just think about that. When you give somebody something for free, what happens, not in the conscious brain, but in the subconscious brain? Well, really simply, subconsciously, people think that they owe you something. Because if I give you something for free, that's amazing. You're going to subconsciously feel like you owe me something. It's improving. I had this conversation with John Astroff before. We were on a boat in Cabo. We were trying to fish, but man, we won't say we were fishing, but we were not catching anything. Like, I don't know if you ever sat in a boat for 3 days and never caught a single thing, but that's pretty much what we did. We got some baits. We never caught any fish though. And so we started having, my dad and my brother and his son were both sleeping. We were sitting out there talking about the subconscious mindset and what happens when people do. And really, that was probably the biggest thing I got away, is that when you give somebody something for free, they automatically feel like they owe you something. So the most important part of this whole thing is that after you give somebody for free, you want to sell them something right away. You don't want to wait. You don't want to say, hey, come back later, go check out the free gift. You want to make them an offer right away. And even if they don't buy, then at least that offer is stuck in their head. Then at least they know what it is, and then they can think about it, and they've got to come back and go watch what happens next again. That's totally fine. And so now you have to think about what makes a great sales page. So I'm gonna go to that really quick. One sec. Let me make sure I have it up, and I'm working on a new one. So but I'm gonna show you one that's actually converted really well. So this is my buddy George Brown. I think everyone can see this. He's in the biz op space. He's from Australia. But this guy, he's my age and makes about I think he's actually 2 years older than me. Makes about $2 million a year, and he only sells one product. All he sells is this product called Google Sniper. This page converts like bonkers. I mean, it converts absolutely amazing. I would recommend all of you to don't buy the course. The course is decent at best. But I mean, it's a good course, but you guys are in a great course here. So, but his conversions are through the roof, and he really understands how do you make an offer, and simply all you need to make a great winning sales page are these 3 simple things. You need a great headline. The headline, either the first line is red or the second line is red. One of the two. One of them is black. You want a white background. You want a video that lasts about 7 to 12 minutes long, and underneath that, you want a buy button. He has a download button, which converts just as well. But you want to have a take action button. Now, the biggest challenge is I think everyone's seen this. I'm gonna stop this for a second. Stop my screen share. The biggest challenge is that, how do you make a great converting offer, right? Now, it goes down to the tools that you're using. So, you want to follow that direction really clearly. The headline, the video, the white background, that all works really well. Now, the next part is there's some tools that you want to use. So the first tool you want to use is called PowerPoint. PowerPoint, really simply, is what you're going to use to actually make your video. Now you're probably like, what do you mean by that? Well, your video, you're going to have about a 7-minute script, right? And I'm going to give you the script in a second. But what you use for what he was showing you earlier at the video is just a PowerPoint that you record your audio over it, right? So you don't want to get in front of the camera and start talking, because if you get in front of the camera and start talking, people completely tone out. No one cares. If I got in front of the camera, I'll tell you exactly what happened. Really simply, people would say, wow, he's too young, he's arrogant, I don't like the way his shirt is, I don't like the way his hair is, and you lose conversions. Anytime you give people the opportunity to judge, they will judge, and if they do judge, your conversions go down. That's exactly what you don't want to do. And so so think about that. So that's why you want to do a PowerPoint. It's super simple, it's easy, and it's really cheap, right? Now the next part, one of the most important things, is having a great script. Now, I'm going to write up the script, so give me 1 second. I'm going to put you guys on mute for about 30 seconds here, and I'm going to write this up for you. Okay, cool. I got that written down. So the first 30 seconds are introduction. Now, it's really, really important. What I don't mean is that you just, hi, this is Austin and I'm amazing, blah, 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 blah. No, don't do that. That's like the worst thing you can do. What you want to do is you want to tell the story through this whole thing, right? The first 30 seconds should be completely about, let's say you're doing a financial thing. In 2008, let's say you do like a financial offer. In 2002, this happened. 2005, this happened. 2007, this happened. 2008, oh my gosh, the collapse happened. 2011, 2015, here we are today, right? So you kind of want to tell a story. So introduce the topic that you're talking about, whether it's weight loss or building apps, whatever it is that you're doing, you want to give the introduction on what's going on in that marketplace. Now, the next 90 seconds are twofold. It's about 45 seconds based upon the results, and then 45 seconds based on who you are. Now, you're probably like, what does that mean? So what I mean by that is that you want to talk about immediately what are the results that people get when they join the course or they get around you, right? And so that means don't do testimonials, but give actual case studies of people that have gone through your program. And there's a big difference between a testimonial and a result. Testimonial, like you guys could, I could email you after and say, hey, can you make a testimonial for me about how great the call was? And you say, oh my God, the call was absolutely amazing. And I'm sure many of you would do that. More importantly, what I mean by a result is that, hey, I went through Austin's course, and because of Austin's course, I made an extra $50,000 this year. That's what I mean by making a massive, a result compared to a testimonial. Then you want to start talking about who you are. This is the part where you actually introduce why you're an expert, because up to this point, they have had no idea who you are. They haven't heard about you. They haven't seen your face. And this is kind of where you just introduce, who you are, right? Now, the next part, and this is really, really important. This is called the fears. And what I mean by this is actually a fears and the qualifications. Now, what I mean by that is that you really, anytime someone buys something, in the back of their head, they have many, many reasons why they're not going to buy. And I'll just be really transparent. When people buy tech stuff, they're worried about, is it a scam? Am I going to have time? Am I going to have enough money? Can you actually really make money online? There's all these things that go through someone's head. And so this is where you kind of list through all these fears that people would possibly have. And what you want to do with those fears is then take those fears and turn them into a qualifier. And what I mean by that is that, let's say, what most people do is that they make an offer, and let's say there's 7 fears. They basically say, if you don't have time, don't do it. Or they say, you don't need time, you don't need money, you don't need experience. And that's all bullshit, right? That doesn't work. So what I say, let's say your 2 fears are time and money, right? So what you would say is that, listen, instead of saying you need 2 hours a week, right? You would say something like you turn it into a challenge. You need 2 hours a week, and if you don't have 2 hours a week, this program is probably not for you. But I believe that you're the kind of person that can find the time to do 2 hours a week, right? And so that's exactly kind of what you want to do. And then let's say the time thing is, or the money thing is that, listen, if you don't have $1,000, this program just might not be for you. And so it's kind of where you take these different fears and you turn them into a challenge, which then turns into a qualifier. And what I mean by a qualifier is that it's something where if the person doesn't fit the criteria, then you're probably going to lose that person as a customer. But that's okay, because you're getting super high quality and super high qualified customers that are going to be able to afford your stuff later and really go through your stuff. But and if you guys have questions on this, this is something that I don't mind breaking down one-on-one, because it is kind of a confusing topic. So if you need to talk about that afterwards, that's totally fine. Now, the next part is really about, and this can be, see, I say 90 seconds, but this can really be as long as you need it to be. This is where you explain what it is that you're selling, whether it's a product, a service, an opportunity. And I'll give you a story. We had a product one time where it was it took 17 minutes to explain the product. Well, it was a library product. It was just a ton of stuff. So it took 17 minutes to explain it, and it still converted great. And what I really think you have to, if it takes more than a few minutes to do this, that's okay. I don't think you should do 17 minutes, but if it takes more than 3 or 4 minutes, that's fine. What you want to do here is just really explain it as what you're selling and what you're giving them. don't pitch it yet, don't sell it yet, but just really thoroughly explain what is it they're going to receive and what the value of it is. Okay. Now the next part is really simple. This is where your close is. So this is where, you know, if you have bonuses, you put the bonuses in. If it's, you know, whatever it's priced at, you know, this is where you could probably discount it. This is where you throw in all the goodies. I don't really, this is an interesting part for me because I don't think there's any like magic way to close, right? I think, you know, every person does it differently. I go the very genuine approach, right? That if you need this to be a great fit for you, and I talk about how the landscape has changed and how you need to program like this, but I don't think, you know, I don't think there's any ABC way you're going to get people to close. I think you just be very genuine, explain it is what the price is today, if there's any discount or deal, if it's going away anytime soon, but just be yourself and be genuine. The last 15 seconds, this is after you close, this is your legal. So you just want to explain your refund rate. If you have a refund rate, if there's any guarantees at all, just really kind of thoroughly explain your legal and kind of what is going to go on. You know, that don't take my word for anything. Ask an attorney if you have any serious questions, but just, you know, cover your bases is basically what I mean. I'll take a minute break. Does anyone have any questions on any of this stuff? If you have a question, you can post it in Skype or post it in here. But if you have any questions whatsoever, now is the time to answer it. And then we'll probably have just got one more thing to go over, and then we'll wrap up for the night. But if you have questions, go ahead and ask it now. I'm going to grab a cup of water really quick. Yeah, Eric. So the last part, what I meant is just the legal. Just kind of talk about if you have a refund rate, if you have any guarantees. This is kind of where you know, cover your legal basis. So if you have a 30-day refund period, that's when you talk about it. If you have any money-making guarantees, I don't believe in any. I don't like doing money-making guarantees, but if you have that, that's when you do it. So cool. Awesome. And last but not least, guys, I mean, I think the most important part is that you have to close. You have to really, you know, and what I mean by that is that after someone presses buy, they don't actually buy. And so the last page, the page you're gonna, and I'm gonna email you guys. I couldn't find the example I wanted to show you, but I'll email you an example probably tomorrow. This is the part where you know, you don't just put up a credit card form, right? You want to make sure that you have testimonials and images and views and stuff like that. And I'm going to email you. I'll email you over kind of what one looks like, and it'll make it much more clear for you. But it's kind of the most important part of the funnel, right? Is your front end. You know, after I really do believe that if you can master this part, that after that, selling online becomes much, much easier. Because really, if you think about it, you know, just like anything, it's kind of like riding a bike. Once when you first start online, getting leads is hard. Getting people to opt in is hard. But once you get your first 10, it's much easier to get your second 10. And it's the same thing when it comes to this. Once you build your first funnel, once you build your first front end offer, then it's easier to build the upsells and to go from there. So I think, you know, why I wanted to start off with this course, I usually actually put this towards the end, but I really want everyone in here to really focus on, and for those of you watching the replay, thanks for watching the replay. Make sure you show up live from now on. But I really want you guys to start building these things quicker, you know, sooner than later. Because, you know, and I literally just got off a call with some of the Success Room clients that I had in here, and we were talking about, you know, the first the first time you do it, the first time, if you get a 1% conversion, that's a home run. That's really good. Marketing means doing things over and over and testing them over and over again until you get them right. And so I want all of you to start working on your front end offers and working on the front end of your funnel, because it's not going to be perfect the first time. It's going to take you lots of tries to get it right. And so this is the time to start doing it. I want to just give you guys some tools really quick, and if anyone needs these tools, let me know, and we'll get you. We have a pretty much a discount for all these different types of tools to a lot of our providers. So Lead Pages is a great tool to use to build these pages out. Webinar Jam is also another great tool to run these types of webinars, and if you're gonna do your front end's gonna be a webinar sale, that's a great thing to do. Audacity is a great tool to use to record the audios for the PowerPoint, and those are kind of like the 3 big tools for the night. Other than that, we're right about on time. I don't know where I want it to be at. I know there's still a few of you in here that haven't added me on Skype. Super, super important that you do. And then secondly, if you need to have a call, there's a few of you in here that still have not had an introduction call with me. I really need you to do that. So we need to just hop on for 15 minutes to 20 minutes sometime next week. I'm totally slammed this week, but next week, and just have an introduction call where we can kind of discuss where you're at, where you're trying to go. And I want to do that with you sooner than later, because if you do this 3 or 4 weeks into the Success Room, then you're kind of going to be missing a lot of things, and I don't want you to do that. Other than that, if anyone has any questions, like always, I'm going to wait around for a few more minutes. You can ask them on Skype, you can text me, or you can ask them in the Google chat. And I think it's really, really important that you guys start working on actually building out this front-end funnel, right? There's no time like now to start seeing success in this stuff. And listen, realistically, you're going to fail the first few times you do it, so it's time to get going on it now. If you need help with that, I'm here to support you. Other than that, I think it's been a really great call. Next week, we're going to go through some product creation stuff. I'm excited about that. We'll have a PowerPoint for that one, so that'll be fun. It'll be probably a 45 to 60-minute class. And yeah, have a great week wherever you're at. And for those of you that need to reach out and add me on Skype, please do that. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week. Talk soon. Bye now. And once again, I'm going to stick around for a few minutes if you have questions, so go ahead. But I'll be on mute, but if you got something, just fire away.